On the morning of August 22, 2025, the tranquil streets of CABAZON, California, were shattered as SWAT teams descended upon the Haro residence. In a dramatic turn, Jake and Rebecca Haro were arrested on suspicion of murder. The charges were not just for their son's disappearance, but for his presumed death. Initially, Rebecca claimed that on August 14th, while changing Emmanuel's diaper outside a Big Five sporting goods store in Yucaipa, a man knocked her unconscious and abducted her son. But investigators found inconsistencies in her story. Surveillance, footage, witness statements, and digital evidence contradicted her account. The kidnapping was a fabrication. Why would a mother lie about such a horrific event? And what does this say about the fate of baby Emmanuel? As the investigation deepens, more disturbing details emerge. Emmanuel's eye, once thought to be a birth defect, was actually healthy and undamaged. This revelation casts doubt on earlier.
You guys need anything, like water or anything? No? Okay. Was that the sister?
Yeah.
Do you guys only have 2 kids?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine, you know? I try to put myself in that. I'm like, yeah, and you guys just like, I was up all night. I couldn't, I live right here. I live local, somewhere right here. And I couldn't, I know, I already was thinking of you guys all night. I was on the phone with my sister. I'm like, oh my God, Norma, like, I know they're up. We were like, we know they're up. They're not sleeping, you know, we were up too. And you know, we're just like,
we're exhausted.
I know, I bet.
Partially delusional.
Where were you at when this happened?
I was at the park. I was at the park watching my son play football. Well, I had her with me.
And then I go on, I take the baby. We're shopping.
Yeah, that's how I am too. I go to stores, you know. It just seems like not real, right? It just seems like, what?
Oh yeah, this was horrible.
It does.
The worst feeling ever.
It is.
We've been balling ourselves.
No, you're just numb right now.
Yeah.
You're just numb, you know?
The way the cops were treating us was horrible.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a roller
You don't want to let
coaster.
us know nothing.
There are a lot of good cops there. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
They're just doing their jobs, but
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
horrible feeling, you know?
No, yeah. So I seen on the picture, like your baby was something wrong with the eyes. Is that what they're saying?
He had a little crazy eye.
Okay.
But it's getting corrected, and he was correcting.
No, he was on no medication or nothing? Okay, so.
He's a healthy baby, so his little eye sometimes goes.
Yeah, my daughter was like that too. She had neurology. I forgot the word. Something where her eyes shaked.
Oh.
Yeah, so. And she was on meds though.
Yeah,
So.
yeah,
So.
She was on medication for her eyes?
Yeah.
What was she?
Well, she had a genetic. It was a genetic disease. It was a non-curable. But I know she had to see a neurologist. What is it?
No.
Yeah, because her eyes would like shake. They said it was something to do with the genetic. She had mitochondria. I don't know if you heard of it.
I've never.
No, mitochondria. It's a rare disease.
Mitochondria?
Yeah, so it like, she was healthy up until after she turned 2.
You just hit her.
Yeah, it hit her. She got like, so her birthday's December. That's when like it's cold, you know?
That's his
When his
birthday.
birthday was.
Oh, yeah. Her birthday's December 6th. And she got like a flu and all that, was admitted. They didn't think nothing of it. I'm sorry. Until they did genetic testing, and then, you know, it's hard. But this is harder, you know. This is hard.
Claims of his condition and raises questions about the extent of the deception. Then an audio recording surfaces. In it, a voice, believed to be Rebecca's, can be heard discussing plans to harm Emmanuel. The chilling nature of this recording has sent shockwaves through the community and intensified the investigation. Could this recording be the key to unraveling the truth? And if so, what does it reveal about the Haros' involvement in their son's tragic fate? Rebecca Haro's version of events seemed convincing at first, until investigators started peeling back the layers of her story. On August 14th, she claimed that she was attacked in a parking lot, her son stolen from her arms in broad daylight. But there were too many holes in her account for it to be believable. Why, after being knocked unconscious, did she wake up only to find no trace of Emmanuel? How was it possible for a woman to be knocked out and yet have a perfectly formed black eye within minutes? Could the truth be more sinister than a simple kidnapping? The inconsistencies didn't stop there. Investigators found no evidence of an abduction. No suspect, no vehicle, no Amber Alert. What they did find, however, were signs that something far darker had taken place inside the Haro home. In the wake of Rebecca's claims, the search for Emmanuel took a terrifying turn. Could her tears be hiding something much more devastating? Could she have known all along what happened to her child? The truth about Jake Haro's past is as chilling as the events that have unfolded today. In 2018, he was convicted of felony child cruelty after his infant daughter, Promise, suffered horrific injuries, a skull fracture, brain hemorrhaging, and broken ribs. The doctors were clear. It wasn't an accident. Yet, Jake served only 1 day in jail thanks to a controversial plea deal that allowed him to continue working at a Walmart. Despite the horrific injuries, Promise was left with permanent brain damage, unable to care for herself and needing round-the-clock care for the rest of her life. How could the justice system have let him off so easily? Did this twisted history play a role in the tragic fate of Emmanuel? How could someone with such a dark past go on to hurt another innocent child? And why was it that Emmanuel, too, wasn't immediately removed from the home after the severe abuse of his sister? With the authorities now questioning Jake's role in his son's death, the burning question remains, was this a father's twisted pattern repeating itself? Was Emmanuel's fate sealed long before anyone even realized he was missing? While the Haros' pleas for Emmanuel to be returned echoed across the media, authorities were digging deeper into the case, and what they found was more than disturbing, it was chilling. In the heart of the Haro home, deputies uncovered substantial bloodstains, not just a few drops, but enough to suggest something far more sinister had occurred. It was clear that Emmanuel's disappearance was no accident. This was not a simple case of a child going missing. It was something more deliberate, something darker. And there's more. Jake Haro's truck was seized, searched, and examined for any trace of Emmanuel. The investigators knew that the vehicle might hold crucial clues, and the possibility of foul play within that truck loomed large. But the deeper they went, the more questions arose. What was Jake hiding? Was he trying to cover up the traces of what had happened to Emmanuel? As the investigation deepened, another unsettling discovery emerged. All of Emmanuel's clothes were gone. His photos were nowhere to be found in the house. It was as if they were trying to erase his existence. Why would a family desperate to find their missing child erase all signs of him? What were they hiding? The puzzle pieces kept falling into place, but each one made the mystery even darker. Just a week before Emmanuel's reported kidnapping, Jake Haro was spotted at a local hardware store. He wasn't just shopping for any tools. He was eyeing a sawzall, a heavy-duty reciprocating saw. It was an odd purchase for someone claiming their child had been abducted, don't you think? And what makes it even more disturbing is that, when the store ran out of stock, Jake left without buying it. But why even consider such a tool? Was he preparing to destroy evidence? Was the saw connected to something even darker than we realized? It's a question investigators are still grappling with, but one thing is clear. The more they uncovered, the more Jake's story fell apart. Investigators are now turning their focus on this disturbing lead. Could the sawzall have been the tool used to conceal the body? What was Jake planning to do with it, and why was it suddenly so important? As the pieces of the puzzle come together, the chilling reality is starting to sink in. The discovery of the sawzall, the blood in the home, and the vanishing of Emmanuel's belongings. It all paints a picture of a father willing to go to any lengths to cover up his crime. As the investigation unfolded, the spotlight shifted to Jake's sister, Maria Haro, who made a video defending her brother and his wife. In this emotional plea, she claimed they were good parents and that they never harmed Emmanuel. But there's a catch, a chilling detail that many viewers couldn't ignore. Maria spoke about her nephew with what seemed to be genuine love, but there was something strange about her words. She spoke about Emmanuel in the past tense as if he were already gone, a clear sign that something wasn't right. Was she covering for them? Did she know more than she was letting on? Some online commentators believed that Maria's video was part of a bigger cover-up, perhaps even a plan to create an alibi for Jake and Rebecca. But here's the real question. Why did she speak in past tense about Emmanuel? Could it be a slip of the tongue? Or was she already aware that her nephew was dead? While there's no concrete evidence linking Maria to the crime, The video raised more questions than answers. Was she just grieving, or was she trying to throw off investigators? To truly understand what might have led to the tragedy of Emmanuel's disappearance, we must look at Jake Haro's past, a past filled with red flags and dark secrets that could have foreshadowed what would happen. In 2018, Jake was charged with felony child cruelty. His 10-week-old daughter, Promise, suffered brutal injuries, a skull fracture, brain hemorrhage, and broken ribs. Doctors immediately saw the signs of abuse, but Jake's explanation that he accidentally dropped her didn't hold up. Despite the severity of the injuries, Jake served only 1 day in jail thanks to a work release program. That's right, 1 day for nearly killing a child. And it wasn't just an accident. Promise was left with permanent, life-altering disabilities. How did this man escape such a light sentence? And the worst part? Jake's later children, including Emmanuel, were never removed from his care. No one checked on the welfare of these children, despite Jake's dangerous history. Was Emmanuel simply another victim in a horrifying pattern? Looking back, the signs were clear, but no one acted fast enough. Emmanuel's tragic death could have been prevented if justice had been served years ago. Now we're left to wonder, was this tragedy inevitable? On August 14, 2025, Rebecca Haro called the police with a chilling story. She claimed her 7-month-old son Emmanuel was abducted while she was changing his diaper in the parking lot of a local store. But as the investigation progressed, a growing number of inconsistencies began to emerge, turning this seemingly innocent claim into something far darker. Rebecca said she was knocked out cold by an unknown attacker who took Emmanuel right from her arms. When she came to, he was gone. But there was no sign of a struggle, no physical evidence of her assault, and most shockingly, no trace of Emmanuel anywhere. Deputies scoured the area and even brought in dogs, but they found nothing. No suspect, no car, no Amber Alert issued. Yet Rebecca's account was oddly similar to a scene in the movie Insatiable, where a baby is stolen after an attack. Could it be that Rebecca was recreating a story, trying to make it look like an abduction? Even more disturbing is the black eye Rebecca had, a bruise that seemed to appear out of nowhere. The medical experts agreed. It was too fast to have been caused by the attack she described. Was she hiding the truth? Was this all just a cover for something far more sinister? Rebecca stopped cooperating with investigators after this point. She refused a lie detector test, and then Jake's refusal to take one as well only fueled further suspicions. Why wouldn't the parents, who were allegedly desperate to find their son, cooperate with authorities? Was this the behavior of a mother who had lost her child, or someone hiding a horrible truth? As the investigation deepened, the authorities found shocking evidence inside the Haro home. Evidence that suggested the disappearance of baby Emmanuel was far from an abduction. Deputies discovered substantial bloodstains in the living room and on the carpet, evidence that strongly implied Emmanuel was never taken from the parking lot, but was instead likely harmed inside the home. And then, something even more disturbing. All of Emmanuel's clothes and pictures were gone. His entire existence erased, his clothes thrown away, his pictures removed. A family in mourning doesn't do this. A family desperately trying to find their child doesn't erase every trace of them from their home. Why would they destroy every reminder of their son if they were truly grieving? Authorities also discovered that the parents had not reported any injuries on Emmanuel, leaving more questions about how long he had been missing and whether he was already dead long before they reported his disappearance. Jake's criminal history began to surface. He was convicted in 2018 for child cruelty after his infant daughter, Promise, was left with life-threatening injuries. Despite nearly killing his daughter, Jake served just 1 day in jail, a horrible miscarriage of justice. And now it seems that the cycle may have repeated itself with Emmanuel. Why was he allowed to remain a father to more children after nearly killing his daughter? How did authorities fail to protect Emmanuel? And what other horrific truths are hiding just below the surface in this tragic case? The story of Jake Haro doesn't just start in August 2025. His past is filled with dark, chilling allegations, ones that paint a terrifying picture of his history as a father. In 2018, Jake was convicted of child cruelty after his infant daughter Promise was found with severe injuries, a skull fracture, brain hemorrhage, and broken ribs. This wasn't an accident, it was abuse. The doctors were clear. This child's injuries weren't caused by a simple fall, as Jake claimed. But Jake got off easy, 180 days in jail, but only served 1 day thanks to a work release program. That's right, just 1 day for nearly killing his daughter. Promise was left blind, with only 3% of her brain function intact, unable to walk, talk, or care for herself, and yet Jake was allowed to go free, with barely any consequence. How is it possible that someone who left a child with permanent disabilities could escape with such a light sentence? And how was it that Emmanuel was allowed to remain in his care with no intervention from Child Protective Services? It's as though the system failed twice, first with Promise and now with Emmanuel. Jake's dark past is one of neglect and violence, and it seems like the cycle was allowed to continue. The tragic truth is, it doesn't seem like Emmanuel's fate was ever in his parents' hands. Was it inevitable that the young boy would fall victim to a household of abuse? As authorities continue their search for baby Emmanuel, every new lead adds another layer to this already complex and heartbreaking case. The search for the child is still ongoing, but the chilling reality is that time is running out. Despite extensive investigations, no body has been found. Yet the evidence in the Haro home points to one undeniable truth: Emmanuel is dead. Law enforcement is following every lead, from analyzing the family's cell phones and electronics to reviewing footage from surveillance cameras near their home. And what they're discovering is disturbing. Blood stains were found inside the house, but nothing conclusive that could pinpoint where Emmanuel's remains might be. So, the question remains: where is his body? What happened to him in the days leading up to his disappearance? Jake's truck has been seized, and investigators are scrutinizing every detail of the vehicle's movements. Could it be that the father moved Emmanuel's body? Is there more evidence buried just outside their home, hidden in plain sight? And what about that sawzall Jake tried to buy just days before Emmanuel went missing? Could it be the tool that was used to dispose of evidence? It's a lead that can't be ignored. These questions remain unanswered, but every discovery, every piece of evidence brings us closer to the horrific truth. Jake and Rebecca might be hiding more than we could ever imagine, and it's only a matter of time before those secrets are uncovered. On August 14, 2025, Rebecca Haro reported her 7-month-old son Emmanuel missing. She claimed she was in the parking lot of a Big Five sporting goods store in Yucaipa, California, changing his diaper by her truck when a man approached, knocked her out, and took her baby. It sounded like a disturbing kidnapping story at first, tragic but believable. However, as the investigation unfolded, holes started to appear in her story. Rebecca's account was full of inconsistencies. How could she be knocked out and not remember any details, but still manage to recount a specific phrase the alleged kidnapper said? And why did she stop cooperating with investigators just days after the incident? What was she hiding? Despite a massive search effort, there were no eyewitnesses, no surveillance footage, and no trace of a suspect or a vehicle in the area. What's even more suspicious is Rebecca's black eye, which investigators claim couldn't have appeared in the short time frame she described. Could this be a self-inflicted injury, to make her story seem more believable? Her reluctance to answer questions and her changing statements only fueled the suspicion. How could a mother, supposedly devastated by her missing child, suddenly clam up and refuse to provide crucial information? And then her husband, Jake Haro, refusing a lie detector test, even with the desperate plea for his son's safe return. This was no ordinary case of a missing child. It was a case with something darker lurking beneath the surface. As the investigation delved deeper into the Haro home, chilling discoveries were made. The walls of the house, once home to a family of 3, were now stained with evidence: blood. And yet, Emmanuel's body remains nowhere to be found. This eerie absence left authorities and the public alike asking, where is Emmanuel? Authorities were led to search the Haro home after suspicions mounted. What they found sent a ripple of horror through the case. Inside, A significant amount of blood was discovered on the floor and carpet. This wasn't just a minor trace. It was enough to suggest that something horrific had transpired right there, in the heart of the home. Why then is Emmanuel's body still missing? Could the parents have moved the body to another location, or worse, destroyed any evidence of his existence? As police continued to gather evidence, they noticed something even more bizarre. All of Emmanuel's belongings were gone. His clothes were thrown away, his photos vanished, as if he never existed at all. Who would do such a thing? A family that had supposedly been desperately searching for their child now seemed to be erasing every trace of him, hiding the truth and disappearing all the evidence. It was almost as if they were trying to bury the memory of Emmanuel along with the truth. The question now isn't just where Emmanuel's body is, it's why his parents are erasing him from existence. What are they trying to cover up? The evidence is piling up, but the truth remains elusive. As investigators dug deeper into the Haro's background, the haunting past of Jake Haro began to emerge, casting an even darker shadow over this already tragic case. Jake wasn't a stranger to violence. In 2018, he faced felony child cruelty charges after his 10-week-old daughter, Promise, suffered horrific injuries, a skull fracture, brain hemorrhage, and broken ribs. The injuries were so severe that doctors immediately suspected abuse, dismissing Jake's claim that she simply fell in the sink. Yet despite this horrifying abuse, Jake received a mere slap on the wrist, only serving 1 day in Riverside County Jail thanks to a controversial work release program. How is it possible that someone who nearly killed his own daughter walked away with such a light sentence? And worse, how could Child Protective Services not remove his other children from the home, especially Emmanuel? This failure to act seems to have set the stage for yet another tragedy. Was this a pattern of abuse that was allowed to continue? This dark history left a trail of unanswered questions. With his track record of abuse, why wasn't more done to protect Emmanuel and his other children? And what role did this past play in what eventually happened to Emmanuel? The pieces of this puzzle were starting to fall into place, and they painted a picture far darker than anyone could have imagined. As the investigation progressed, another strange detail surfaced. Jake Haro was seen at a local hardware store just days before Emmanuel's disappearance, trying to purchase a sawzall, a heavy-duty saw typically used for demolition. The question that arises is this: why would a father need such a tool right before his infant son went missing? Jake didn't end up purchasing the saw, but why was he even considering it? This isn't the sort of tool you buy for everyday home repairs. Was this part of a dark plan, something far more sinister than anyone could have anticipated? The timing of this purchase is deeply troubling. Could it be a coincidence, or did Jake have intentions of using the saw for something far more horrifying? And why did he choose to go to this particular store when he had access to tools at his Walmart job, where he receives discounts? Why go to a different store entirely? The sawzall purchase wasn't the only strange detail. Authorities would later seize Jake's truck, which might hold the final clue to unravel the truth behind Emmanuel's disappearance. What did they find there? What had Jake planned? Every moment, every clue seemed to point toward a chilling conclusion. Jake Haro knew far more than he was letting on. The tragic story of Emmanuel Haro has left us all shaken. A young life, full of potential, brutally taken away, with a family at the center of this horrifying mystery. As the investigation continues and new details emerge, one thing is clear. This case is far from over. The search for Emmanuel's body, the questions surrounding his parents' involvement, and the unsettling revelations about the system's failure are haunting reminders that justice must be served. We want to hear from you. What do you think happened to Emmanuel Haro? Do you believe Jake and Rebecca Haro were solely responsible for his death? Or are there other factors at play? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates on this unfolding case.